Let's get a Republican response now from Florida Senator Rick Scott. He's chair of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Senator Scott, thanks for joining us this morning. Let's start out with the Chauvin verdict. Was justice served in that case? Your governor, Ron DeSantis, suggested the jury might have been scared of what a mom may do. Do you agree with that?
Well, first off, it's tragic what happened to George Floyd, and I think for all of us, our heart goes out to his family. You know, justice is never perfect, but we've got the best justice system in the world, and justice prevailed. I am disappointed that people like Maxine Waters and Joe Biden spoke about it before a verdict. I think we ought to, bring people together, not sort of incite people to do the wrong thing. But it's horrible that it happened. I hope it never happens again. I'm disappointed in the Democrats. Tim Scott worked hard last year on a police reform bill, and the Democrats blocked it in a filibuster. So all of us would like to make sure we keep our community safe. When I left as governor of Florida, we were at a 47-year low in our crime rate, and I was proud of our sheriff's department and police departments. The vast majority, do the right thing each and every day.
Let's talk about that police reform bill. It seems like there's an awful lot that Republicans and Democrats can agree on. Senator Scott, you mentioned, is hoping for a bipartisan negotiation, but you just heard Congresswoman Bass right there. It certainly seems like this issue of shielding individual police officers from lawsuits and lowering the standard for prosecution seems to be the main sticking points. Are those red lines?
Well, I think what we ought to do is let's find best practices. I think if you go back to what Tim Scott proposed, is let's have more transparency so we can find out what's working and what's not working. In his bill, we had incentives to stop chokeholds as an example. But I think you start with more transparency. And I think you do what I've done and what I did as governor. You sit down with law enforcement and say, okay, so what can we do to be better? And why are some officers better, some departments better than others, rather than saying, oh, everybody is doing the wrong thing, and create an incentive for people not to do their job.
So you don't think there should be new standards for prosecution or lawsuits? Which I'll always listen to everybody's proposal, but what I'm not going to do is put our law enforcement community in a position that they've got to second guess themselves when they're trying to make sure people are staying safe. We're at a 47, when I left as governor 2 years ago, we're at a 47 year low in our crime rate, and that's what I want to focus on. Well, how do we make our systems better all the time? The vast majority of law enforcement officers show up every day, put their lives on the risk every day, and do the right thing. The vast majority do, but you've seen this spate of killings as well.
Well, I mean, look, it's horrible what happens. I mean, I went through 51 law enforcement officers in my 8 years as governor lose their lives in line of duty, showing up and defending people's, safety each and every day. So I think what we've got to do is we've got to respect our law enforcement community and then figure out how can we make sure everybody in our community stays safe. I always said when I was governor, there's three primary jobs: get people a job, get their kids good education, and keep people safe. And that's what I try to do every day. And that's what Republicans are trying to do all across the country: keep people safe.
What do you hope to hear from President Biden on Wednesday?
Well, first off, I'm sure he's going to talk about unity and bipartisanship, which he's not done since he's been up there. I wish he'd talk about the crisis on the border, which he created. I mean, it is a crisis. I've been down there with Governor Ducey to see that he's created this crisis. I'd like him to talk about why aren't all of our schools opened? What is he going to do about $30 trillion of the debt and this inflation that's picking up? Gas prices up since he got his election, significantly over 70 cents a gallon. I hope he talks about that and how he's going to hold people like Shia, the Ayatollah, or the Castro regime or Maduro regime accountable. That's the things I'd like him to talk about.
You talked about the crisis on the border. You say that President Biden created it. Your own former president, Republican President George W. Bush, spoke out on the issue of immigration this week. I want to play it.
It's a beautiful country we have, and yet it's not beautiful when we call people names and scare people about immigration.
If you were to describe the Republican Party as you see it today, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as isolationist, protectionist, and to a certain extent, nativist.
Those are pretty harsh words from a former Republican president about the current Republican Party.
I'll tell you, the Republican Party is the land of opportunity. I live in an immigration state, but I believe in legal immigration. I mean, if you look at what Joe Biden has done, I took an area tour of the border with Governor Ducey from Arizona.
He stopped building, the wall by not putting up the fences, didn't electrify lights and cameras so Border Patrol could make sure people are safe. But look, the Democrats don't want to do anything. I believe we've got to figure out how to take care of the DACA kids. We have to create, security of the border, and let's figure out how we make this a country where people that want to live the dream that we want to live can come in here on a legal basis. But I've been in D.C. for a little over 2 years, and I had a bill that every Republican signed off on to improve temporary protective status. And the Democrats blocked it on the floor twice, and part of it was to give TPS to Venezuelans, which are fleeing Maduro. And would they talk to me about it? No, they would not have a meeting with me about it. They had no interest in getting anything done. They wanted to have an issue for a campaign. I want legal immigration. My state's full of legal immigration. We've prospered because of legal immigration. And why the Democrats don't want to secure the border and figure out how to fix things like take care of the DACA, the kids, and fix TPS, it doesn't make sense to me, but they won't.
Finally, a couple weeks back, you gave former President Trump something you called the Champion of Freedom Award. That was on April 10th. And you did that despite the fact that the former president continues to spread lies about the election, about Mike Pence, and the Capitol siege on January 6th. He said there was no threat there. Doesn't giving the president an award like that endorse that kind of behavior?
I gave him the award for the right reasons. He worked on border security. He worked on creating the best economy we've had probably in my lifetime. He worked on holding Xi and China accountable, the Castro regime accountable, Maduro accountable, helping Israel, got the Abraham Accords done. So, he worked hard. Every president I know would like to get more things accomplished, but he did some things that prior presidents had not gotten done.
Well, except you gave that award after he spread the lies about the election. And also, you're in charge of getting Republican senators elected in 2022. You've asked the former president to endorse all GOP incumbents, but he refused to do that. And he's going to actively campaign, he says, against Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Well, I think Lisa Murkowski will have a great win. Republicans are united. We don't like the Biden agenda. Republicans like a secure border, open schools. They don't want to be dependent on energy to a foreign country. They don't want immigration reform or packing the Supreme Court that the Democrats want because they know it's not good for the country. And Republicans believe in this country. We know we're a beacon of light. We're not talking like Democrats are, that they trash the country every day and said everybody's a racist, because this is not a racist country. This is the country with the land of opportunity. And I'm proud to be a Republican. And I know we're going to have a big win in 22. And Biden's helping us each and every day.
Senator Scott, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, George. Have a good day.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.